Well, hello and happy Wednesday. It is an opportunity that I thought I should take after having had some conversations this week. And so, um, I don't know, I think I have shared my story of how I got started as a consultant and getting clients and the whole nine. And I know that, we have this digital age. And so there are different perspectives on how to get clients and um, the process that are taken. There are all kinds of methods out there, but I thought I would share my story today and just talk about some things that you may be able to extract, you may be able to use to help you wherever you are in business, in ministry, um, as a knowledge entrepreneur, whatever it is. It may be a project that you're attempting to start. But I wanted to talk about how I got started. And in all actuality, I think it kind of surprised me, but I started as a consultant back in 2014. And when I started as a consultant in 2014, it was really not my intent to start consulting that particular year. I had published my first book the end of 2013. I had just gone through a divorce and went through a lot of things. So my mindset wasn't really there, which is why we have to always be open because we don't ever know how God's going to do a thing and how He's going to position you and who He's going to use to propel you to that next place. So as a result of that, the person who was instrumental in it was a business connection, but she was instrumental in helping me to write my first book. I actually met this connection, this business connection, through volunteering for a major conference here in the city of Dallas. And so, as time would have it, the person saw some things in me that I probably didn't even see in myself at that time. About March of 2014, I got a call and said, I need you to consider helping um, me and my organization with a project. And so, because of who the person was, I consented and I said, sure, I'll be happy to have the conversation. Well, after beginning the conversation and hearing about what the project actually entailed, there was some things that were said that were like, okay, it made me nervous. So first of all, the project or the event that they needed assistance with was happening in less than 6 months. So this was March when I got the call. The event was taking place in July. As a matter of fact, it was my birthday of that year that the actual event was culminating. So that's number one. Number two, there was not only one project that they needed consulting and assistance with. They had four. They had an actual ceremony that needed to be coordinated, talent needed to be coordinated for a program that needed to be uh, coordinated and graphics completed and submissions done, photos, the whole nine, right? These were ads because it was a commemorative project. So this was about 125, 150 page product. So that was the second project. The third project was a a reception that was a public reception for the attendees at large, right? Then the final project, there was four projects in one, and think about it, all less than 6 months. So stay with me. So the fourth project was also a reception for a private group of people that was 250 to 300 people. So after listening to all of this, reluctantly, but also there was something in me was like, you can figure this out. I said yes. So we got started. And I won't go through all of the details, but what I will say to you is that it's important as a consultant, as a coach, as an entrepreneur, as um, an instructor, facilitator, whatever it is that you do, that you know your lane, that you know your purpose, and you know your passion. What I did know is that I had the gift of administration. I also knew that project management was an area that I worked well with. The other part that I knew that I had the ability to do, and that was to work with people. I had the ability to work with people, volunteers. So the volunteer base was pretty much around 350, 400 people. So there was some pieces and parts that I had to make sure that I was very keen about and I was very strategic with in order to make this happen. Because now at this time there wasn't Zoom was not on the horizon. There were conference calls, but there were no Zoom. So we didn't have Zoom to bring everybody in at one time and try to do the whole nine. So I was using conference calls, individual calls, and then I was doing on-site visits throughout this 4.5 month period in order to make this happen. So there was a lot of effort that had to be put in. I had to be quick on my feet. I had to think about what the strategy was going to be. And then I had to put a plan together. I had to document all of that. And then I had to execute. So there were four major things that had to happen. I had to coordinate a plan. That was number one. I had to coordinate a plan that encompassed all four aspects, all four projects that were taking place, because all four projects were happening simultaneously, right? So you got all four of these that have different attendees, they have different participants, there's different talent, there's different things that have to be done. And when you think about all of those things, you think about talent, you think about graphic designer, you think about administrative persons to coordinate, you think about making sure that the specs and everything were precise on the entries that was being submitted. You think about two receptions, you think about caterers, you think about servers, you think about the food that has to be purchased, what the menus are going to be. Then you think about decor for the actual event. You think about decor for each of the receptions and setting that up and determining who's going to be where and making sure that all of those have confirmations. There was a lot going on, needless to say. So I had to coordinate that. Then I had to determine what the strategy was going to be for communicating with all persons involved to pull this off and make this happen. Then next, I had to uh, I had to communicate. So I had to determine what the communication plan was going to be so that there could be consistency across the board and that I was doing the same thing all the time, every time, in order to make sure that everybody got their piece, got their part, and knew what their role was. That was important. Then I had to maintain the communication for consistency purposes so that we could stay on track, we could stay on course, we could keep the time frame that had been the durations that had been established so that we could stay on point with the plan as related to the time. So there were time durations for certain things. We had to stay on course with that. Time management was paramount. I mean, super paramount. We had no time to waste and we had no time to give. And then lastly, there had to be collaboration. There had to be collaboration with the staff. It had to be collaborations with vendors. There had to be collaborations with the talent. It had to, be collaborations with those leaders who were going to be point persons for what was happening. So long story short, I was able to coordinate, I was able to communicate, I was able to be consistent, and I was able to collaborate with all of those entities and help that organization have a successful project with four projects in one that culminated on time and within budget. That was when I knew I was in my lane. And so, what I want to say to anyone who is new, you're starting out, you're trying to establish yourself, you're trying to figure out. That was in 2014. And so think about there's a total difference in technology, the things that we have available to us now that we did not have available to us at that time. So I had to be even more on top of my game to make that happen. Um, I had a lot of help, but I was at the helm of coordinating all of those pieces and communicating and making sure that everybody was in the loop. And so, without having Zoom, without having an app for everybody to be engaged in the conversation, it happened with email, it happened with conference calls, and it happened with on-site visits. And so, I'm telling you, when you are in your lane and you're doing the thing that you are called and you are purposed to do, it works for you. It works and it works well. And so that was the start of people really being able to see my abilities, what I had the ability to do, what I had the talent to do, and what I had the gifting to do. And so it's so important when you're starting out to make sure that there is an audience that has the opportunity to see what your abilities are and what your gift is. So, of course, mine started with that initial opportunity, right? Now, for someone else, it may be a particular circle, it may be a network of people, it may be a group of people. But one thing's for sure about any type of entrepreneurial endeavor, it requires people, and you have to engage and you have to determine who your audience is. During that time, churches was my audience because that was my history, that was my background, that's what I come out of. I was connected in that area. And so ministry and those kinds of events were that was my connection. As a result of doing those kinds of events and those kinds of consulting um, opportunities, then individuals began to reach out and become clients. And so from there, it began to build and grow. And later on, of course, I added other pieces and parts of that because I felt like I had an opportunity to help more people simultaneously at the same time. So that's when I went into having workshops and conferences, which became known as pen to paper, helping people to extract the potential and determine what their purpose is so that you can ride in your lane and do what it is that you're called purpose and have the passion to do. And so now it's the season of transitioning again and evolving into more of an online platform. Why? Because there's an opportunity to help even more people. And so it's a different mode and a different platform, but the same thing. And so we have to be open to evolving to the things that helps us to grow, that helps us to connect, to help us to determine where our people are. Because if you would think about it very, very closely, whenever there is a person who is really thriving and flowing in their area, normally they have a real passion. It's something that they do with the least amount of effort. It's an area that they flow in. It's an area that they enjoy. I enjoy people. I enjoy ministry. I enjoy networking. I enjoy connecting with people. So all of that is a part of what helps me to connect with people. And not only that, but to find my clients. And so my clients come from all different walks of life. Some are ministry, some are individuals, some are businesses, some are business owners, some have been companies. And so it just depends upon where you connect. But as a result of that, I've gone to conferences, I've volunteered at various events, I've become a part of different networks and groups locally and online. I've connected with different business ventures. I've partnered with people to be an event manager. So all of these things were a part of my background and things I did. So for years, for free, I managed events, worked volunteer staff on a consistent basis. And so those things prepared me for what it was that later I began to do as a business. And so the other thing I would encourage you is that always look inside yourself to see what is it that I've spent a lot of time doing? Where is it that I thrive the most? Where is it that I flow and I have no problem? It's my niche, it's what I love to do, it's my passion, and I enjoy it. Look for those areas, and I'm telling you, you will find your place of thriving, and that will be the place that will give you the flow of how to connect and get your clients. And I'm telling you, it'll happen organically once you begin to connect and flow. One of the things that I think has been a misconception for some people who are introverts and for people that are not really people persons and they don't connect like that, you have to remember, if you're doing business on any level, it's going to require people, even if you're selling a product that is not necessary for you to actually be in front of people. It requires people to purchase the product. So people are a part of your process, regardless of what type of entrepreneur you are and what it is that you do. So keep that in mind and determine the places that you're most comfortable in. Determine the groups that you're most comfortable talking to. Determine the groups and the areas that you flow best and you feel like I can do this every day, all day. I'll never get tired of it. It's what I love. It's what I enjoy because it's not work at that point. It is a lifestyle that you've created and it's what you do every day and it's a part of your purpose and your passion. And so as a result, that propelled me. It gave me the confidence that I needed in that season to say, hey, you can do this. You can be an entrepreneur. And not only that, you have a target of people that will always be a pool for you to gain clients. And so from there, it went to helping people to write books. I took my experience in writing my own book and being a self published author, and I began to help other people become self published authors. And so as time goes on, I'm wanting now to go to that next level and making that a course and just sharing my experience, how I did what I did. Will that resonate with everybody? Absolutely not, but it will resonate with those persons that connect with me. That's the other thing that you have to understand and realize. And that is this: everybody has people assigned to them. You don't ever have to worry about someone else doing the same thing that you're doing, someone else being the same category of business that you're in, someone doing the same line of work that you're doing, someone coaching in the same niche that you're coaching, because everybody has people assigned to them based on their culture, based on their general location, based on their geographical location, based on what it is that they do. There are people who are assigned to you and only you. There are people who connect with my spirit. There are people who connect with my culture. There are people who connect with my personality. And so as a result of that, there will always be people that are assigned to me. And so you have to know that same thing. You have to do it scared. You have to do it afraid. And here's the other part: you have to trust God. And you have to know that if He gave it to me, then He's going to provide. He's going to make sure that there's provision for what it is that He's given me to do. So just wanted to share my story with you, how I got started, how I got clients, and it continues to work this way even today. Um, have I began to make some social media connections? Of course. However, it is still a mouth, a word of mouth kind of thing. It's people talking about their experiences with me. So there's always that people factor. And so your interpersonal skills have to be on point because that's going to determine how you connect with people, how you communicate, how well you actually, share and present what it is that you've been given to do. And so when you find that place and you get comfortable with that, then I'm telling you, things will begin to flow. You begin to make those connections. And then you have to be willing to get out there. You have to be willing to go. You have to be willing to share what it is that you know. I remember quickly, and I'm going to be done. And that is before I started pen to paper, and I was thinking there's just so much more that I feel like I can do and help more people at one time. And so I went on this sabbatical, went to a city I'd never been to, and just went on sabbatical and took some time and just journal and had some peace and serenity. And the thing that was given to me was package your purpose. Package your passion. I'm sorry, package your passion. And so I was like, what does that mean? And so I had to continue to mull over that and that kind of thing and really figure out what it was that I needed to do. And so that's where pen to paper was born, because as I began to write things out and how I wanted to help people, how I wanted to be a blessing, how I wanted to impact and that sort of thing, and the things I wanted to do to impact people further on a larger scale, then as a result of me writing that down, pen to paper was born because I had to write that vision out. That's another thing that is so absolute key, because once you obtain the time, maintain the time to actually write that vision and put it on paper so that you have a clear focus, that's going to be your guide as you connect with people, as you're a part of networks, as you are part of groups. All of those things are going to come together, and that particular focus is going to help you to really gain footing on the direction you need to go in. Will things vary here and there? Absolutely. But it'll give you the confidence for the competence that you need to do what it is that you've been called, purpose and commission to do. I hope this has been helpful for many of you who will watch this and who will watch this at later times and just really think about some of the things that I shared and some of the things that I talked about. And the fact that it was an organic kind of situation, but at the end of the day, it was all about the gift that I knew I had, the things that I enjoyed doing, and the fact that I was willing to be um, in a space where I connected with people. So think about the things that make you tick. Think about the things that make you excited. Think about the things that you get joy in doing and you enjoy doing it any day of the week. You can do it. That's going to be the thing that's going to propel you forward and that's going to help you to connect and start to draw clients to you. All right. Well, till next time, be blessed and have a good one.